Welcome. Today I'll be joined by Pete Berg. You may know him from classic films such as Friday Night Lights and Battleship, but today we're here to talk about his new Netflix limited series that he directed, produced, and wrote, Painkiller. Congratulations and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Painkiller is the dramatized look at the early days in the creation of OxyContin and the evil it has delivered to this world. As a director, what did you want to come across the most about that particular time period?
Well, I think it's not hard to understand that when someone gets addicted to a drug, it's horrible. And that I kind of, yes to that. And I understood that. I don't think people understand just how greedy people can be and how manipulative companies can be, and people that we're supposed to trust, like doctors and pharmacists, how much greedy evil can lurk in the souls of people like this. And it was shocking to me the more I learned about how this company, Purdue Pharma, was able to basically take heroin, put it in a little pill, and get approval from the FDA to send it out to hundreds of thousands of people, and how much money they made and how little they cared about the wake of destruction that they were leaving. That was, I understand money and capitalism, and yep, it's fine if you go out and make a lot of money, power to you. But if you put even the slightest morality up to what this company was doing, it was like Pablo Escobar, Tony Montana stuff, like on a whole turbo level, and these guys were getting away with it, and that was shocking to me.
Certain parts of the show is almost like it's like a horror film, and I think if people if they're not changed or they don't question our government and these big institutions that are that market themselves as people who protect us, I don't really know what can. You have a beautiful cast of characters who all do amazing jobs. Could you just shine a light on a couple of the different cast members?
Well, Matthew Broderick plays, Richard Sackler, who was sort of the architect of OxyContin. He was the genius behind it. He figured out how to make it, how to market it, how to sell it, how to get it approved. And he was very, very good at making money. And in that regard, okay, I tip my hat to you. You got an A+. If the goal is to make as much money as you can, that man got an A+. Matthew Broderick, who was Ferris Bueller when I was a kid.
My man Ferris Bueller.
I thought Matthew did a great job of getting into a guy like this and kind of showing how a guy like this, literally wakes up in his body every day and looks at himself in the mirror. Taylor Kitsch, who has a real connection, who's had family members battle OxyContin addiction. He did a great job of playing, and Uzo, who from Orange Is the New Black, kind of playing our leader, kind of guiding us through figuring out, like, wait a minute, how did we get here? How did this happen? As you say, how did the government approve this? How did the government approve heroin in a pill being given to 17-year-old kids for knee injuries? Like, what? And Uzo did a great job. Wes Duchovny and Dina Shabani play these, they call them OxyContin kittens.
Yeah.
They used to hire, girls just out of college to travel around the country talking doctors, and I wish they could all be here talking, for themselves, but that's not the time we're in right now. But I'm so proud of that whole cast.
No, it was excellent. One of the things that your series really drives home is how easy it is to get addicted, and it kind of it changes it has the ability to change the conversation around addiction, because like you said, you can just go to the hospital for a knee injury as a 17-year-old kid and easily be swept up.
Absolutely. And that's, if you're looking for the crime, right? Like the legal and the moral crime, it's like if I take 10 people and give them all a little bit of heroin,
Mm-hmm.
one or two of them are going to come back for more and more and more. And this company was doing that. They were taking heroin and throwing it out. Who wants some heroin? I got it. Here it is. Doctor approved, FDA approved. Try it. It feels good. And it did feel good to a lot of people, but for a lot of people, it stopped feeling good and it started destroying lives.
The show's a history lesson. Like I've learned so much by watching this show, and I already thought I knew a lot about it. But I'm gonna tell you, like one of the most brilliant things I think you guys did for just society in general is the parallel between the crack epidemic and what's happening with the opioid crisis. Because when the crack epidemic was happening, and I'm from East Baltimore. I grew up in the 90s at the height of the crack era, so I know what it was like, right? But seeing the role that capitalism played and how the same thing that these Black and urban communities went through at this particular time is the same thing that's happening right now. I wanted to ask you, what do you think our country should have learned from the crack epidemic and applied to this opioid crisis?
I think one, we got to think about, like, if we didn't learn from crack that it's a human issue of human addiction, first and foremost. And addiction is a mental health issue and a medical issue. And so I think how we choose to pay attention to the issues of addiction is important, and I believe that we should have learned more of that from what crack did to so many lives. We need to wake up and think about who's making money off of the pills and the supplements and all of the other toxins that we pump into our bodies. That's on us, because there's always going to be bad actors out there.
Absolutely.
And we got to pay attention to what we're putting into our bodies, what we're letting our kids put into their bodies. And we got to be on the lookout for addiction. You got to check in with your people every day if you're a parent.
Absolutely. Every episode begins with people who are directly affected by the drug, and I think that piece makes it relatable to a whole lot of people who don't really understand. Even if the series is part of the series is fictionalized, I think those real encounters are really, really, really gonna help a whole lot of people understand the problem that we're facing. Could you talk about the decision to include those people?
Yeah. So I didn't like the idea of just the generic disclaimer, which you see, like, what you're about to see is based on fact. However, some of the characters have been changed. You've seen that a million times, right?
Right.
And it's true that some of the characters have been changed, but the 98% of this is real, and the death and the pain are real. And I thought to have parents, if we could get them, who would read the disclaimer and say, there is some of it is fictitious, then put that down and say, I'll tell you what's real. Here's my son. He was 19. He got addicted to OxyContin. He's dead. Here's my daughter. She's 22. And I thought that could kind of set the tone. And what I wasn't prepared for was we kind of put the word out in just the LA area that we were just looking to see if there were any parents who would be willing to do this. And within 16 hours, we had 80 families, 80 saying yes. This was just in really like central and western LA, just a little pocket of LA. And it was overwhelming to see it's right there. Like, I'm sure you know somebody. And if you don't know somebody, you know somebody who knows somebody who's been hit hard by this.
my dad is battling this right now, so it hit home for me in a different way.
Well, I wish him the best of luck. And it is beatable, it is beatable. And we met folks who, went through hell and climbed out the other side. And Taylor Kitsch, who plays, a character in this show, is very open with the fact that one of his family members was brutally addicted to OxyContin and took it to the gates of hell and was able to pull herself out. And, she was with us on set every day.
When you tell hard truths like this, you ever worry about the backlash from like some of these big companies, like trying to come after you and sue and things like that?
I get a lawyer. You got a lawyer, I'll get a lawyer. Okay. You know what I mean?
I commend you for that. You're very brave, and I think the work you're doing is very important. Can you tell everyone when they can watch this amazing Netflix show? People, it's so important.
Oh, God. Just go on Netflix and you see it, either the 8th or the 9th.
Congratulations, Mr. Berg. The show is amazing, and I'm wishing you continued success.
All right. Well, I wish your father the very best.
Thank you so much. Thank you.